Number 1. While assigned to patrol on a Monday, October morning at 0800 hours, you hear one of your officers inform dispatch he's in pursuit of a motor vehicle west on New Britain Avenue, approaching Broad Street. How would you handle this situation?
I'd immediately, by radio, ask the officer what the justification for the stop was and what the operator was wanted for. I would then determine whether that stop and that pursuit was necessary based on the risk to the general public and the necessary necessity to stop the operator at that time. If it was found that the pursuit was not necessary at that time, I would immediately inform the officer to stop the pursuit, and I would meet with that officer immediately. In meeting with the officer, I would determine whether he had justification to make the stop or he did not. I would complete an SIR and a limited distribution based on his responses. If his responses were in violation of the policy and procedure, I would in the SIR would complete an investigation on his history, of the officer's history of prior discipline and his experience level, and determine a appropriate discipline for the officer. I would then consult the advocate of my findings, and after the findings, I would ask the officer. In the discipline of the officer, I would ensure that in the future he was in compliance with the policy and procedure. I would also make sure that within the span of control of my subordinates, that they were in compliance with the policy and procedure through individual training and roll call training. If I found that the pursuit was justified, I would immediately notify dispatch to send 2 additional officers for the pursuit. I would notify dispatch to have a canine officer on standby for the pursuit. And I would also I would ask dispatch if there was any surrounding officers that could safely deploy stop sticks to terminate the pursuit, or other officers to parallel the pursuit. At the conclusion of it, in the pursuit, I would also notify dispatch if it was entering surrounding towns. I would notify dispatch to notify those towns, or if it was entering the highway, I would notify state police of the incident so they could assist. At the conclusion of the pursuit, I would complete an SIR. In that SIR, in the investigation, I would gather all the information on the pursuit, such as any camera footage, all officer supplements, and also any findings of the pursuit, any deficiencies such as policy and procedure violations, or any recommended training that we could provide to ensure future pursuits were better handled. At the conclusion of the SIR, I would have the lieutenant review the SIR to further go up the chain of command, and also I would complete a unusual to the chain of command about the pursuit. If any deficiencies were found, there would be a recommendation in those distributions. I would ensure personally in roll call trainings and individual counselings that my subordinates were within policy and procedure, and educate them about policy and procedure of pursuits. And that concludes my answer.
Thank you, candidate.